Hey guys, I'm Minigot. If you're on this channel, you probably know me, so I will cut the introduction to the minimum. I hold a lot of world records inside of aim trainers, and on popular CSGO maps such as YPRAC, aim trainer, or even aimbots, but my record got beaten a long time ago. I do coaching. I've had an opportunity to work with pro players as well. I would want to kind of like talk about the task that I've made together with Low Gravity 56 during the coaching program that I've held a few months ago with Bucher. We worked together when he was a part of a team called Alternate Attacks. We've held like a 4-week program, working on his mechanics as a player, trying to boost his aim. And now on the screen you should be able to see a little summary of some of the work we've done together. This document here is also made public, so if you want to take a look at my work, you can check it out in the description. But yeah, coming back to the point, like inside of the game, being able to read your opponent's movements is super important as it makes aiming easier. It's kind of like you need to learn how to understand what people can and can't do inside of the game, or some sort of like common behaviors that they might have. So like one of the issues that we identified early on with Bucher was that inside of the game he was struggling with like A-D Strafes, like A-D moving targets, right? To kind of like isolate this problem, we decided to use like an task inside of the aim trainer to isolate it better. The task was called Minis Headshot Strafe Click, because I've made it at some point as well. On that task, we were kind of like being faced with like A-D strafing target, so Bucher was put against constant strafes and kind of like a constant need of aiming more actively at such motion. And it's super good because you can kind of like isolate certain mechanic without really like much downtime as you might face inside of the game, so that's how it was. And this task kind of like allowed us to analyze why the problem is happening from the raw aim side of things. So by isolation, we were able to have like way easier time seeing what's happening in like long term, because I've made him play it for like a few days, maybe like a week. And then after a week, we took a look at some sort of the VODs of him playing the set scenario, and we were able to see some sort of like habits that he have that might not allow him to have easy time shooting at those motions inside of the game. We were able to identify that our main reason of not being able to hit such targets is at times not even related to our aim alone. Because you need to know that Bucher has like a very controlled aiming style in Valorant. He usually relies on his crosshair placement alone, kind of like predicting what's going on, like having the ability to visualize the opponent positions and stuff like that. He's very smooth. He also uses like a low sense, so really often when he was like taking a duel with like A-D strafing targets, he was relying too much on the prediction. He was like assuming that the guy will stop at some point, or that he will do like a long strafe, so he was kind of like positioning his cursor in front of the guy, waiting for the guy to go into his cursor. It's like a very common problem that people have at times, that they kind of like, instead of like reading the target motion, they kind of like place their cursor in the hopes that the target will go into their cursor, or they start to spray. Like in CSGO it's like more common that they spray. In Valorant it's more like they kind of like rush the process, or they even stay still with the cursor trying to kind of like aim with the movement. So after identifying that the problem was about not being able to actually like aim actively, he was kind of like waiting for the target, falling into this like predictive click timing approach, we decided to create like a task for that. So at Amped, which is like a voltaic coaching service for pro players and content creators like teams, I've decided to create a task with our scenario creator Low Gravity 56 that could allow players to work on kind of like developing more active approach to aiming, or kind of like facing the players with like more active approach when they strafe. So we created a task that kind of like focuses on aiming at strafing enemies that constantly do like A-D strafes. But on this task, it will kind of like punish you if you will take too much time to actually hit the target, or when you will start to kind of like rely on your crosshair placement alone. Because, as said before, Bucher was kind of like relying on his crosshair placement alone at times, and waiting for the target to run into his sight. On this task, if you will start to wait and predict, then you will kind of like not be able to even get a single hit on the target. And if you will wait too long between the clicks, the target will just give you minus points. So not only the task makes you really be more active, but at the same time, like even if you want to get like a very high score, choose any technique or like any sort of thing to get like a higher score, because like in aim trainers some tasks might be great for improvement, but a lot of players will play them in a wrong way just to get like a high score. And on this task we solve this problem, because you can't really get like any good score if you don't really do the proper technique.